Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the August 17th council meeting at 7 p.m. And we'll go ahead and begin with a statement. Governor DeSantis Executive Order number 20-193 extended the governor's authorization for local government bodies to continue to conduct meetings without an in-person quorum in any specific location and to hold meetings using communications media technology or CMT. On April 6, 2020, the City of Jacksonville Beach Council approved the public meeting, the use of CMT, and alternate start times to conduct council meetings and briefings. Accordingly, this City Council meeting is being held in a modified manner using CMT. The council, the staff, and the public are not physically present in City Hall tonight. In just a moment, the city attorney will explain the CMT procedures and adaptations for public attendance and public comment that have been put in place. City council members and the city personnel are appearing through CMT. The meeting will be opened by an invocation of Mr. Vogelsang.
Lord, please be with us tonight as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Please bless those in our military serving both here and abroad. And please be with our first responders. Keep them safe as they protect us and respond in the betterment of our residents and everybody across the nation. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And if you would join me in the pledge by standing and facing the nearest flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, City Attorney, if you would now please state the CMT procedures and adaptations being utilized tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. The city provided the public with the following CMT options and instructions, which were published in a notice to the public and provided online at the city's website. These are means for the public to attend, participate, view, and listen to this city council meeting. Members of the public were advised that they could view and listen via a live stream on the Jacksonville Beach YouTube channel. We provided the link for that channel. Also, they could listen to meeting via phone. We provided the phone information on how to attend via phone, provided information for the hearing and speech impaired and access numbers for those individuals. We provided that the public could submit questions and comments concerning any scheduled agenda item, or for courtesy of the floor portion of the agenda by submitting it via email to the city clerk, providing it via US mail, also dropping it off at the drop box at the front of City Hall. And that we asked the public to provide their full name and address, and if they're a city business owner, to provide the business name and address. We also provide a public comment submission form on the Jacksonville Beach website. All the submissions that are provided by these means will be provided to the council, and they will all be considered public record. Written comments that are received by the deadline will be read by either the city clerk or myself, and I think it's the city clerk. And any written comments will be limited to 3-minute reading time. We also provide that members of the public could opt to comment via dialing in or utilizing Zoom technology, and we provided that information. And we are limiting the speakers to 3 minutes, as we typically would. And we provided all the information on how to attend and participate via Zoom. The email address and online comment forms will remain open during the meeting to accept comments from the public up until 5 minutes before the particular agenda item is addressed by the mayor. Public comments for courtesy of the floor will be accepted until 5 minutes before the mayor opens that portion of the meeting. Thank you, Mayor. And I would like to just remind the public and council that council members don't use their own personal alternative media technology or electronic devices to discuss action items or items before the council tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Doherty. Dumont.
Here, is that my name that you just said?
We had a little bit of a break in the action there. A little pause.
I'm here.
Hoffman,
Here.
Nichols, Vogelsang,
Here.
Mayor Latham.
Here.
What about Sandy?
Madam Clerk, Ms. Golding is here.
I thought I called you. Okay, I thought I
No.
called
Well,
you.
we had about a couple of second freeze, and I think you probably called out a couple names.
Jacob, are you
Sorry.
able to mute that telephone number on the screen? Because they're not muted.
They are now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to go ahead and move right into item 2148, please.
Move that we approve the minutes of the budget showcase held on July 31st, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or debate by the council? Put up my little hand screen here. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? By your action, motion carries. 149, please.
Move that we approve the minutes of the budget workshop held on August 3rd, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Madam Clerk? Yes,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to point out there was a Scrivener's error in those minutes, and we emailed that information to you. It was just a minor 2020 versus a 2021, and we fixed those errors.
Okay. And that was on the one that we just approved, 148? The
The
showcase?
upcoming one, 149, the upcoming one.
Okay, thank you. So other than the Scrivener error, any other comments or debate from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 150, please.
Move that we approve the minutes of the council briefing held on August 3rd, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. And any debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 151, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 3rd, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 152, please.
Move that we approve the minutes of the budget workshop held on August 4th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Announcement. Does anybody have announcements today? Ms. Golding?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have several announcements I want to make. First of all, I wanted to let my fellow council members know that I applied to be on the Florida League of Cities Municipal Administration Policy Committee so that we can have a voice in the Florida League of Cities work that they do on that committee, particularly because they work on the vacation rental issue. And then there were several other preemption issues that came up this past year that were in that committee. So just wanted to let you know that I have applied to do that. And if you're interested, the deadline is the 17th. So that's today.
Thank you for doing that, Ms. Golding. I appreciate you taking the mantle on that.
I'm glad to do it. Thank you, Mayor. Another announcement is the City of Jacksonville's Finance Committee is meeting on Wednesday, and they're going to be going over the CIP budget, which has the $500,000 for Pimmon Road in it. And just wanted to let you all know that Vice Mayor, Neptune Beach Vice Mayor Fred Jones sent an email to the Finance Committee members, and I sent an email to the Finance Committee members and also spoke to the chairman and just, thanking them for supporting the $500,000 for Penman. And so hopefully that will go through without any issues. Wanted to mention that Beaches Watch is going to host a conversation with our Beaches Black youth to hear from them about their experiences growing up in the beaches. And it's going to be September 2nd at 7 p.m. and it'll be a virtual Zoom meeting. It should be interesting, with all the things that are being discussed nationally with regard to diversity and inclusion and equity. we thought it'd be a good idea to hear from our local beach youth and maybe learn a little bit from them. That's always I think it's always good to be listening. Also wanted to mention that for those of you that may not have known about it, but we had 2 leatherback nests here in Jax Beach. One of them hatched near the lifeguard station, and I had the great opportunity to be able to watch the little turtles make their way to the ocean. And then 3 days later, I was able to go and watch the Sea Turtle Patrol do their evaluation of the nest, which is a really, really interesting process. And just so you know, the nest was 32 inches deep in the sand, which is pretty amazing that the mother turtle actually digs that deep into the sand to lay the eggs. There were 63 eggs that were hatched, and there were 7 that were not hatched. But it was really, really interesting. And then there was the second leatherback nest in Jax Beach that hatched a few days after the first one did. So pretty exciting for us, I think, because they're not very common. And then on Saturday, I do my usual run through Jax Beach, and just wanted to give a shout out to JTC Running, because I stopped at both of the new drinking fountains that they donated, the one at the Seawalk Pavilion and at the Oceanfront Park. And let me tell you, it was hot, and I was very glad that we had those water fountains. And so I want to thank them. Very, very grateful for their very generous donation. And then the last thing I wanted to share with everybody was my bicycle was stolen. I actually had it locked to a bike rack between the lifeguard station and Joe's Crab Shack. And just want to make you guys aware that even though you lock your bike, it may not be safe. So I want to thank the police department for all their efforts to try to find my bike. Unfortunately, it's not been found, and probably won't be found. But Commander Evans did give me some good recommendations for bike locks that are better bike locks than the one that I had. So if you like your bike and you want to keep your bike, then I recommend that you look into getting a really, really good bike lock. And again, thank you to the police department for trying to find my bicycle. Apparently, just so you all know, that this is apparently a big issue right now, and the police department has had a lot of issues with bicycles being stolen. So those are all my announcements. I know it's a lot. Thank you,
Sandy. Appreciate it. And sorry to hear about your bike. It's happened to me before too, but wasn't here. But it's a horrible feeling. But
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Ms. Hoffman.
To piggyback on that, with all of the recent bicycle thefts, I checked in with Chief Smith, and we do have a bike registration program. So I think that really helps our police assist in recovering stolen bicycles, if that's ever possible. I know it's a long shot, but at least it gives them a little bit of a leg up on that. So I'd encourage anybody watching to please register your bike as well. As far as my announcements, I just wanted to let everybody know the Beaches Museum's annual gala, the Beach Legends, is going like so many other gala events before us, and we will be virtual this year. It's going to be on September 18th at 6:30. The bad news is we've had to redo our entire event, but the good news is that now it's going to be accessible to everyone, and I think it's going to be worth watching because we are honoring this year Ed Malin, who you all know from Angie's and Angie's Scrum, Jackie Rooney, who's the columnist, the social columnist in Shorelines, and the Dickinson family, who were really a founding family of business owners and entrepreneurs here in our community. So I think it's definitely going to be one to watch. And of course, we'll have a great silent auction to go along with that. And then this is a little further out, but since we have the proclamation regarding the 19th Amendment today, I wanted to say, you may not have noticed, but the museum's programming this year was all focused in celebration of the 19th Amendment passing. Although most of those events had to be canceled or postponed, but we are still going to put a history exhibit up in October that is going to be called Beyond Breaking Ground Beyond Bathing Beauties. A lot of alliteration there. And that'll be the history of women at the beach. And that should be another one not to be missed. So we don't know if we'll have an opening event, but we will have the exhibit open and available to our visitors. So wanted to let you know that that was coming up.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mott.
I don't think I have anything as exciting as Ms. Hoffman and Ms. Golding. Fill out your census, please. We get our federal dollars by population, so please make sure you filled out your census. All your friends filled out your census. Share the information on all your social media networks. It's really critical that we fill out that document. So please, and thank you. And the second piece is UNF started a new school year today. So welcome all you new Ospreys. I know it's totally not the college experience that you were expecting, but we are going to do a good run at it. And it's something that you'll get to tell your grandkids when you're older that I started college back during a pandemic. So welcome. I'm sure that it's going to be an excellent year for you, and we're all going to make sure that you succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Golding, did you have a revisit?
Yeah, thanks to Ms. Hoffman for mentioning what she did about the registration. I definitely recommend that you register your bike with the police department. I had not done that, but I had saved the serial number and had taken a picture. So definitely make sure you, even if you don't register with the police department, record the serial number and take a picture of the bicycle, because both of those things will help the police department try to find your bicycle. And the good thing is there was some video that the police department was able to find that, you know, showed somebody with my bike, but still, you know, it's not been found. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, courtesy of the floor, starting with Jacob, do we have anybody reaching out through you?
We do. We have Mr. Marsh.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I gotta share the screen. Is the screen shared? Oh no. And okay, Mr. Marsh, you should be good to go.
Ken, if you would please start with your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Ken Marsh, 2011 Gale Avenue. I recently reviewed the proposed 2021 budget information, and in the redevelopment segment, this particular chart on the screen got my attention. It shows the relative property appraisal for both of our CRA managed locations, left side being the South Beach area, and the right side is the downtown area. And in spite of the scale difference, you can clearly see that the South Beach area has bounced back quite well since the recession by that large upward slope. And the same cannot be said for the downtown area. Now, I know in the past few years and also in the future CIP, much of our capital improvement plan is being spent on the stormwater wastewater system, which certainly is vital. But excluding the Dix Height items, we are missing out on any funds which support the revised and hopefully the final vision plan. I know the issue of no funding could be attributed to the fact that the Shepherd Group and the CRA have not sorted out exactly what the new plan looks like. But the Shepherd Group and the CRA are meeting this month to start the discussion, and we have a bit more than 1 month before we get any vision plan line item in the budget. So the reason I've come tonight is to encourage council that they request that one outcome from the August CRA Shepherd meeting be that a recommendation from the Shepherd Group come on what initiative and monies would be needed to get the vision plan rolling in 2021 and get this item in the budget. I mean, after all, we paid 30 grand for the consultants to review the documents. So I would hope that one of the deliverables for them would be some strategies on moving the plan forward. The bottom line is the CRA is running short on time on getting the vision plan money in the budget. The CRA has the money, but what they don't know is how the money needs to be spent. And if the money's not in the budget, then the CRA is going to have to come back to council get your approval for the spending, and that's nothing more than an unnecessary delay. And I think we can all agree that we need to move quicker in transforming our downtown. It's critical that we work toward making our downtown visually attractive and look at our capital improvements that will encourage our investors to invest and our residents and our guests to visit. So again, before the budget moves towards the official public approval in September, I'm strongly encouraging that council and city staff work towards getting a vision plan line item in the 2021 redevelopment budget. In closing, I'd like to thank Mike and his staff for correcting 2 of the areas that I showed in the pictures to you all on the downtown areas that needed attention. I appreciate that. I am also hoping that the broken bollards and the unreadable regulation signs are also on your radar to be corrected. So thank you for that. That's it.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Jacob, do you have anybody else on phone?
Nobody else on the phone.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, do you get any emails?
No, sir, I've not.
Great, thank you. In that case, when we move on to agenda item 153, Madam Clerk, if you would please read the proclamation for the Florida Line Worker Appreciation Day.
Whereas America's electric energy is generated by thousands of independently owned and operated power plants and distribution systems, all of which are connected to a complex electrical grid consisting of over 5 million miles of transmission and distribution lines that deliver energy to homes, businesses, hospitals, churches, and schools throughout our country. And whereas the nationwide electrical grid must be maintained and operational 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, despite inclement weather, hurricanes, tornadoes, and various possible hazards. And this vital service is performed by over 114,000 skilled men and women known as electrical line workers who are employed by each independently owned utility. And whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach has owned and operated a non-generating municipal electric system since 1915, and whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach's electric utility covers a service territory of 123 square miles, and whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach receives wholesale power through 2 points of connection at 230 kV, and whereas this power is distributed from 6 substations, Sampson, Fort Diego, Gowanus, Butler, Jacksonville Beach, and Penman, through 300 feeders and 260 kV. And whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach electric distribution system consists of approximately 131 miles of overhead power lines and 684 miles of underground lines, along with 47 miles of overhead transmission lines. And whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach has approximately 9,184 power poles and 5,423 transformers. And whereas the city of Jacksonville Beach has 28 line workers who work with 44 other various employees to provide the electric service to the residents of the city. And whereas the hardworking men and women of Beach's Energy who risk their lives daily in extremely dangerous situations to ensure the reliable delivery of electric energy to all residents of the Beach's Energy Service territory are most deserving of gratitude, appreciation, and honor. Now, therefore, I, William C. Latham, Mayor of the City of Jacksonville Beach, by virtue of authority vested in him, do hereby proclaim August 26, 2020 as Florida Line Worker Appreciation Day.
Thank you, ma'am. Alan, do you have anyone here to represent the linemen, or are you representing them today?
Actually, I didn't have anybody here because we did talk about. I told them what we were doing tonight at council, but not being in person was a little bit different for them. So yeah, I'm kind of here representing them, and I'll pass on, what was said here tonight. They're well aware Florida Lineman Appreciation Day is a big deal in the state as far as the line worker trade, and I'll speak to them, and I'll probably read this again at one of their safety meetings.
Okay, and if you would too, I've had the fortunate experience of riding with you and your guys both after Matthew and Irma, and seen with my own eyes how quickly and safely and professionally they get the job done. So, personal thanks from me as well for the hard work and continued diligence that your staff exhibits on a daily basis. You're the pride of the beaches, and Atlantic Beach is trying to do everything they can to find a way to work their way over into Beaches Energy, but that's only because of your reputation and the service reputation of your team. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to the guys and ladies.
Okay, Madam Clerk, under item 154, if you would please read proclamation concerning the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote.
Whereas the call for women's rights was proclaimed at the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, and whereas the demand for women's right to vote became the centerpiece of the women's rights movement since the Seneca Falls Convention, and whereas women suffragists experienced ridicule, mockery, threats, alienation, and imprisonment, and whereas the names of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, Susan B. Anthony, Alice Paul, Lucy Burns, and Carrie Chapman Catt stand out as leading the movement over decades. And whereas the women's role in World War I influenced President Wilson's support for the 19th Amendment granting women the right to vote. And whereas the 19th Amendment simply reads, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives passed Amendment 19, 304 to 89 on May 21st, 1919. Whereas U.S. Amendment 19, Wisconsin was the first state to ratify Amendment 19. And whereas it was a Tennessee mother who urged her son, a congressman, to be a good boy and vote for Amendment 19, which he did. And whereas Amendment 19 became part of the U.S. Constitution on August 18, 1920, without much fanfare and ending almost a century of struggles, protests, torture, and prison time. Now, therefore, I, William C. Latham, Mayor of the City of Jacksonville Beach, by virtue of the authority vested in him, do hereby recognize and honor the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote, and urge every citizen who is eligible to vote in every election.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that. We had a couple of burps in that reading as well.
No.
Jacob, can we post both those proclamations on the website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think would, for those of you that are listening on a recording and didn't hear everything that was said, those will be available to you online on the website. So thank you very much, and congratulations to the better half of the team. It's a big day, 100 years of since this was passed, and that was just a year or two before I was around. So anyway, thank you for reading that, and congratulations on that success. Going to move on to 2155, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is the monthly financial reports provided to City Council by the Chief Financial Officer, Ashley Gossett. If you have any questions for her regarding the report, she is on the call and prepared to answer.
Any questions or comments or debate about the financial report? Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion, please?
Move that we accept the financial reports for the month of July 2020 as submitted by the Chief Financial Officer.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any last debate or discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Mr. Staphopoulos, we're at 156. Are you ready to brief us?
This next item is requesting some additional construction services for the replacement of breakers out at the Sampson substation. Beaches Energy Services Director Putnam is here to talk a little bit more about what he's asking for.
Yeah, so I hope you recall over the last couple of years, we've had quite a few breakers fail out at Sampson. Those are the breakers that actually connect us to the outside world at 230 kV. We replaced 2 of them. The third one is still being supported with a standalone generator, standalone compressor to keep it operating. The other two have since been replaced. This is asking for permission or I guess approval to replace breaker 8W40, which is the last breaker that has not been replaced out at Sampson, and also to finish up the work related to the replacement of breaker 8W71, which was replaced a while back. The only thing we didn't replace at the time was the control cables and the interfacing cables. So we figure at this time to finish up the entire job, we'll replace the one breaker and upgrade the cables at the same time. We are going to do this through an existing invitation. There was actual bid awarded to 3 bidders through FMPA to do this type of work through a substation and generating station maintenance bid. We selected one bidder who we already had experience with, Flow Power. Their lead worker had already done some breaker replacements at Sampson previously. So he had gone to a new company. The company's done work for us before. He's done work specifically with us before. So we felt very comfortable having this person come back based on their previous work. All the other materials are already here for the project. We just need the labor to get it done. Trying to think. The only other thing was this was actually budgeted back in 2017. So that's just I'm just trying to drive that point home. I continue to do this, that we're finally catching up on work that's 3 and 4 years old. So we didn't spend the money back in 17 when this was actually approved in the budget because we were playing catch up with all the failures at Sampson over those last 2 or 3 years. So we actually have money left over this year from an existing project, which was transmission line hardware replacement. We're pushing that into the future since we're doing the work on 3 substations at the same time, and we're going to have to go back and revisit that work anyway. So I'm asking you to approve construction services in the amount of $36,790 to Flow Power LLC to complete work associated with Sampson 230 kV breakers 8W40 and 8W71.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hoffman, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we approve construction services in the amount of $36,790 to allow Flow Power LLC to complete work associated with Sampson 230 kilovolt breakers 8W40 and 8W71 via invitation to bid FMPA 2019-034.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate by the council? Any questions or comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Demott,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And Mr. Stefopoulos, we're at 157, please.
Yes, this next item is seeking to use some reserve funding from the Water and Sewer Utility Fund in order to support the annual sewer line rehabilitation program. Department Director Dennis Barron is on the line to talk a little bit about what this project entails.
Mayor and Council, thank you again. This project kind of started off earlier this year and hit my desk as a suggestion for an area that we had some excessive inflow and infiltration in. We got hit with several other manhole projects that kind of managed to gobble up those funds. And of course, with the fund being 2020, this project's kind of been sitting on the shelf since March as something we need to continue on with our slip lining project, which is why we're asking for approval to spend reserves to actually complete this project. And it's for the Pine Grove sewer lining project that you can see on your screen.
That it, Dennis?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hoffman, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we approve additional funding from the Water and Sewer Utility Fund operating reserves to complete fiscal year 2020 sewer line rehabilitation project as described in the memorandum from the Public Works Director dated August 5th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate from the council? I don't know how that happened, but my screen changed and I lost all the little hands. Okay, seeing no hands, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Demott,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And 158, please.
158 is another Public Works item seeking to award an RFP for debris monitoring services. For those of you that may be aware, whenever we have a storm or natural disaster that creates debris within our city, we are required to remove that debris. And if it is monitored correctly, it is eligible for reimbursement of FEMA funding. This will put a new 5-year contract in place with a debris monitoring contractor. If you have any questions regarding the RFP, Public Works Director Barron is on the line to answer them.
Dennis, do you have any presentation for the motion? You just ready to answer questions?
I do not, other than this has been our current debris monitoring contractor, and we have a very good relationship with. It was really good to see that they actually came in on top of this.
Me too. I feel the same way. They've done a fantastic job. Ms. Hoffman, can we get a motion, please?
Move that we award proposal number 04-1920 debris monitoring services to the highest ranked respondent, Debris Tech LLC, for a 5-year contractual agreement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or debate? Seen these guys operate myself, and they're phenomenal. Done a really good job for us in the past. I'm glad to see that they're around. So, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Olsang,
Yes.
Jamont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Did we miss somebody? Did she burp again? Did you guys hear that pause? Jacob, I'd recommend we check the Madam Clerk's microphone when you get a chance. You don't have to do it right this second, but that's where I'm hearing a lot of burping, if you will, when you're speaking. But it sounds like we got a successful vote, so we'll move on to resolutions. And Madam Clerk, if you would please read resolution number 2059-2020 by title only, please.
Resolution approving 2 perpetual easements between the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida and the state of Florida Department of Transportation for use of the city right-of-way to facilitate an FDOT pedestrian safety improvement project along State Road A18 at 15th Avenue North, providing for legislative findings, public purposes, delegation of authority and responsibility, conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Hoffman, can we get a motion, please?
I'm sorry, I'm still scrolling through the Debris Tech to find the motion. Does anybody have it in front of them that wouldn't mind making it for me?
I move that we authorize the mayor of the city of Jacksonville Beach to execute resolution. Is this the resolution?
Yes, 2020.
2059?
2059, yeah, I'm sorry.
Authorize the mayor, make a motion that we authorize the mayor of the city of Jacksonville Beach to execute resolution number 2059-2020 and the perpetual easement parcels 800 and 801, documents having identification numbers of section number 72100 FP number 4411941.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. And Mr. Stefopoulos.
Yes, this is the DOT, the Florida Department of Transportation, moving forward with their final design plans of 2 new pedestrian crossings on A1A north of Beach Boulevard. They are proposing 2 crossings, one at 2nd North and the other at 15th North. In order to be able to proceed with the crossing at 15th, they do need access to property that is under the control of City of Jacksonville Beach in order to install their appropriate equipment in order to make those crossings match their standards for safety and equipment. So we do not have a problem with the issuance of these perpetual easements to DOT, and this will continue to move these projects forward.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion or debate from the council? I'm going to throw out there that this is a long time coming. It's been a long time since we put this request in here. I think probably since our first year. And I'm glad to see it come to fruition. And I hope that DOT, we can encourage them to move quickly. If we're not, let me know, because I have a good relationship with Secretary Evans. But I'd love to see that taken, put underway here shortly. Anybody else? Sorry, my thing changed again. No, I don't see any hands. Okay, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, if you would please read resolution number 2060-2020 by title only, please.
A resolution by the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, adopting a policy for the city council to review and approve requests for honorary street name designation, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions and council decisions, severability, and an effective date.
Okay, Mr. Go ahead. I went out of order last time, Mr. Stefopoulos, if you go ahead.
Thank you. This resolution would basically put in place the policy that was discussed with council at our briefing from 2 weeks ago. It would basically create a honorary street naming program within the city of Jacksonville Beach. Director Jason Fatides is on the line in the event that you have any questions for him, but I believe we have incorporated all of the comments that we heard from 2 weeks ago.
Okay, before we open the floor to council, I'd go ahead and request a motion, please.
Caught up now. I move that we adopt resolution number 2060-2020, establishing an honorary street name designation policy for the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any debate or discussion, questions from the council? Ms. Golding, you're recognized.
I have several things I'd like to propose that we consider adding. One of the things was in the list of questions that I submitted to Director Fatides, because I did some research online and I saw that there are other cities who have done something similar, and they actually include the word honorary above on the sign that's installed and above the name of the person that is being honored. So I'd like, it turns out it wouldn't cost us anything more to do that, but I'd like for us to consider adding that to the sign. And then let's see, also, we state in another section of this policy that the contributions do not have to be financial in nature. And so I was thinking that it would be good if we also added that to the provisions under A1 in the definition of the honoree, just to make it clear that the honoree their contributions don't have to be financial in nature. And let's see if there was anything else. Oh, and then one other thing I thought would be good is in section D, D1, we talk about the applicant is required to provide clear evidence that the honoree has made a significant and lasting contribution to the betterment of the city of Jacksonville Beach. And I think it would be good to clarify or reference B1C, the section B1C, because that's all the criteria, or at least some of these things would be the things that we would want people to provide as evidence that they provided a contribution to the betterment of Jax Beach. So just some things I think that would help to, a couple of them just for clarification or to make sure that the language is clear, and then adding honorary to the sign.
Mr.
Sorry, Mayor.
Can you guys hear me?
If she made that in the form of a motion, we could second it.
Okay, I'll be glad to do that. I move that we add honorary to the sign, as well as reference to, let me find it again, sorry. In provision A1, that said contributions do not have to be financial in nature, and reference in D1, I've lost my place, sorry.
Ms. Golding, sorry to interrupt. I think D1 is in building and facility
Oh,
naming.
I apologize. Okay. All right. So just those two.
But while you're on that, could I also maybe add to that motion or suggest? Because in our zeal to make sure that we included deceased individuals, when we first brought this to council at the briefing, we did include nonprofit organizations or significant events. And when we were focused on making sure that it was deceased individuals, we left those two components out. And if you'd like us to continue with them, we can add them in on A1 under that definition of honoree.
Can I speak to that real
Yes,
quickly?
go ahead, Ms. Golden.
You know, I thought about that. I recognized that that was not there. And my thought was that we start with the individuals first, and then we can add those later if we feel that that would be something that would be beneficial. But I think right now, just the individuals, I think, are sufficient.
Okay, so do you, Madam Clerk, do you need her to reread her motion, or did you get it?
Go ahead and just read it one more time. I've got most of it. Just want to clarify. Make a
Let's see.
motion to add honoree. Go ahead.
Yes, I move that we add, or we include honorary above the name of the honoree on the sign, and that we add said contributions do not have to be financial in nature to provision A1.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor and a second. Any additional discussion? Ms. Golding, your hand's up. Did you have something to add?
Sorry, no, sir.
Okay. And then all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, by your action, motion carries. And now we're back to the original motion, or the original resolution. And Mr. Fatides, you had your hand up. Did you have anything else that you wanted to address?
No, Mayor, that was what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other debate or discussion from the council? Easement, I'm sorry. Motion, please, Ms. Hoffman. Did we get a motion?
We already did the motion.
Okay, I didn't mark it off. I apologize. So now we're roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, if you would please read resolution number 2061-2020 by title only, please.
A resolution by the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, adopting a policy for City Council to review and approve requests for naming and renaming city buildings and facilities, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions, and council decisions, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Stefopoulos, would you like to start?
Similar to the previous resolution, this was also brought to council a couple of weeks ago at a council briefing. It is a policy that would allow for the renaming of city buildings and facilities such as parks. We received input from council that we believe we've incorporated effectively into the policy. Mr. Fatides is here if you have any questions for him.
Thank you, sir. And we do have one hand up, but let's go ahead and get the motion on the floor, please.
Move that we adopt resolution 2061-2020, establishing a building and facility naming and renaming policy for the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, and Ms. Golding, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So I apologize, everyone. I'm trying to learn how to use the note feature on this iPad. So I got ahead of myself and Mr. Fatides corrected me. I would like to see us add clarification in section D1 that that asks for clear evidence that the honoree has made a significant and lasting contribution by referencing the criteria in B1C in the section D1.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Ms. Golding, your hand's up. You want to take it down or?
I'm sorry. Thank
It's
you.
okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, by your action, motion carries. We're back to the original motion on the resolution. Any additional discussion or debate by the council? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2020-8146, second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance to amend Plan Unit Development, PUD ordinance number 2019-8121, establishing a Plan Unit Development, PUD zoning district, supplementing the comprehensive zoning regulations and zoning atlas for the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as provided under Chapter 34 of the Code of Ordinances of said city.
Okay. Mr. Stefopoulos, would you like to refresh our memory on the second reading?
Absolutely, Mayor. This is a second reading of an ordinance for expansion at Pablo Hamlet. Last year, Pablo Hamlet came in front of City Council and requested an expansion by adding 2 new buildings to their campus. Since that time, they have revisited their construction, and they would propose to take 2 buildings and actually reduce it to 1 building with a lower density for their campus. I believe, Jacob, we have a graphics that shows the overhead as well. If you could please advance to that slide. One more. Oh, maybe we don't have it. Didn't get in the queue. We do have Senior Planner Heather Ireland on the call if you have any questions that she can specifically answer. And I believe we also have a representative for the applicant here as well.
Thank you, sir. We've got second reading that's been previously passed on the first reading last meeting. Is there any additional debate or discussion from the council? We've got people available to answer any questions.
Do you like a motion, Mayor?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8146, amending PUD rezoning ordinance number 2019-8121, governing the property located at 1600 Shutter Avenue by providing a new project narrative and site plan, Pablo Hamlet Senior Living.
Second.
Got a motion and a second now. Does anybody have any debate, discussion, or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And now, Madam Clerk, if you would please, if you'd be so kind to read ordinance number 2020-8147, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 19 nuisances of the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinances to reflect best practices, regulations, standards, and procedures for code enforcement of public nuisance abatement, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I'll now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8147. Is there anyone that would like to, anybody representing the ordinance that would like to speak? Okay. Anybody from the public that would like to speak? Did we get any feedback, Madam Clerk or Jacob?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay. In that case, I'm going to close the public hearing. Request a motion for the ordinance as read by title, please.
Mayor? Sorry, I had my hand raised.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I don't raise it often. Okay, thank you, Mayor. So I wanted to add that before the motion's made, there will be a correction made to this so that Ms. Hoffman's motion will incorporate this change. The change is very simple. It's to section 19-7, subpart 7. I need to make a correction. I forgot to put in the full term, Florida Department of Financial Services prevailing legal rate. So I only put legal rate. So when the motion goes forward tonight, that'll go forward with that slight change that I'll make to bring back to council.
Okay, we can consider that a Scrivener's error for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did somebody else have their hand up?
I did, Mayor, but Mr. Ambrosio took care of what I was gonna.
Okay, thank you. Apologize for the oversight. So no additional discussion. We're going to close the discussion on the floor. And Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, Mayor, I haven't made a motion yet.
No, I thought I had. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm
I
going
think we're all
back.
in the
Good.
same space tonight. Mr. Ambrosio, do I need to modify the motion or are we good?
You'll be good, Ms. Hoffman, as I just stated that what's before the council tonight, it has that Scrivener's error correction moving forward with your motion right now.
Thank you. I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8147 to revise, amend, and add new sections of City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, Public Nuisance Abatement.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Mr. Vogelsang?
I would just for clarification for those that weren't part of the briefing, part of this mission going forward, once this is passed, is to create a policy with regard to waiver of liens and a process for that as a city process.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments, questions, or debate? Then, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And sorry, guys, for public hearings, I got to go by a script and it gets a little bit disjuncted here. There we go. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2020-8148, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance to create Chapter 20 Parks, Recreation, and Beach and associated sections of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to provide uniform and park-specific codified local laws, rules, and regulations, and specified authority and enforcement actions concerning the city's parks, park properties, and beach, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. This ordinance is read before the council for public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I'm now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8148. Is there anybody, Chris, do you want to take the lead on introducing this? Chris Ambrosio.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. So we're presenting to the council this ordinance to amend and to create a Chapter 20, which is going to be a Parks, Recreation, and Beach. We discussed it at a briefing. This ordinance constitutes essentially a brand new chapter where we had a Chapter 20 identified in our Code of Ordinances, but with no body and nothing of substance in that chapter. So the City Attorney's Office has worked with the Park and Recreation Department, the crew from the beach, the police department, and we've put together this chapter, which will provide regulations and rules and laws for specific parks and also generally across all parks and recreation areas, as well as the beaches. And I wanted to point out that soon, by the end of September, we intend on bringing forward to council an ordinance that's going to revise Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinances, which is the fire code. So Steve and I are working on that, and there's going to be a little bit of overlap between a couple of sections. And one section being, we're proposing and staff is recommending that there's a prohibition to having fires on the public beaches. And I met with Steve and Jason today. We confirmed that that's the recommendation that all three of us make to council. And when Chapter 10, the fire code, comes before council in about a month, we're going to make sure that both this chapter 20 and the chapter 10 would both be prohibiting open fires on the beaches.
Thank you, Chris. Does that summarize?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And before we open the floor, can we get a motion, please?
Sure can. I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8148, creating a new City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Parks, Recreation, and Beach.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. The floor is open. Is there any discussion or debate by the council? Ms. Golding, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. In the questions that I sent Mr. Fatides today, I don't know if I need to request the correction on it's 20-16 subsection 5D, where it says courts will be assigned by HTC staff. And then there was another sentence that was not real clear. And I think Mr. Fatides was saying that we would probably remove that last sentence. Is that correct? So do we need to make that motion to do that tonight and go ahead and correct it?
I was a little slow getting to the specific point of the ordinance. Would you mind telling me?
Yes, it's 20-16. So it's the section about the Huguenot Tennis Center.
Okay.
And then it's 5. And then D, section D of 5, which is on the top of page 12.
Got it. Thank you. Okay.
So if I were to make a motion, it would be, I move that we modify that section 20-16 5D to read courts will be assigned by HTC staff.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a second. Open the floor for discussion or debate. Let's see, Ms. Demott. You know, hand
It was
one.
on the original motion, not the,
So we got a motion for modification on the floor, basically addition to the text on the floor. No last discussion, then we'll go to all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Now we go back to the original ordinance, and Ms. Dumont, you're recognized.
Thank you. This is kind of, I'm asking, this is to Chris and I guess Jason as well. Have there been problems with fires on the beach? I was just wondering why we're adding that, because I believe it's currently, you can have like a barbecue kind of a thing going on, but you can't have a bonfire.
Right. I'll provide some information that I've gathered from Steve, our fire marshal, and that I'm also aware of before speaking to Steve, but there have been problems where coals and some wood from fires have been left in piles on the beach. And often those aren't extinguished. Well, first of all, they're not removed from the beach. And then they're also not completely extinguished. And then there's oftentimes that Steve reports that coals and ambers and wood have been left in trash cans. And some of those trash cans are also plastic. So that causes Steve a lot of concerns with respect to the way that park users have not disposed of or extinguished those hot coals and wood. So that's a concern of his. And so Jason, do you have others to add to that?
Just that the feedback from the lifeguards, they also bury the coals, and when they do that, the coals don't typically die. They stay hot for a longer time, and so that's a danger.
Okay, I was just wondering if there were any issues going on. So apparently there are, but thank you. So thank you very much.
Okay, and we're back to the original motion on the original ordinance. Is there any additional discussion? Last call. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Demott,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and City Manager or City Attorney, do you have anything to add before we close the meeting?
No, sir, nothing for me.
And I have nothing either.
Okay. I hope everybody has a great night and we'll see you next time. Meeting's adjourned.